Hi guys, James from DBG here, and welcome to another video of me showing off painted models. And yes, it is wobble cam time again. And this time we're stepping into the world of bolt action, and we're stepping into the Western Desert of North Africa of early 1942. As you can, as that would explain the mix of early and relatively modern equipment on these Brits. So, as you can see, these are Warlord games. They are 8th Army, they are the plastic box set, the support group, a 6-pounder, and a Matilda tank troop. Now, the Matilda tank, as you won't know if you've watched any of my videos, is the most glorious, bestest, and most amazing tank ever created by humankind. There is no argument there. So just accept it. We'll look at those in a sec. But first of all, let's look at the composition of this force. This is my own personal force, to be possibly sold if needs be, but hopefully not. Anyway, so what we've got, from left to right, we have a regular a regular infantry squad, mid-war. We have a 3-inch mortar, a Vickers machine gun. We have the lieutenant, his platoon sergeant with a Thompson, a forward observer with his monkey, a medic, a veteran squad, again mid-war. I've put the tam o' shanters on, which is the Scottish hat, just to represent the fact that they are veteran, to differentiate them on the battlefield. We have a 2nd regular infantry section. We have a regular 6-pounder and a regular boys anti-tank rifle, and then 3 regular Matildas. The one on the left is the CS, or close support version, with the light howitzer. The rest have 2-pounder anti-tank guns and Beezer machine guns. So yeah, let's have a look. Let's delve in and see if I can get the camera to focus. Right, you can tell these guys are mid-war because the NCO has a Thompson. And at the beginning of the Western Desert, the British didn't use Thompsons. They kind of didn't like them. They were seen as a sort of a gangster weapon. But they found them very useful in the end, and the Germans really didn't like the Thompson because, unlike the German MP40 or MP38, Thompson fired a .45 caliber round, which had an immense amount of stopping power and caused horrific wounds compared to the 9mm Parabellum, which was the one used by the Germans in their MP40s, and that we would use in the Stens. So there's the infantry section. Now we have the medic, and because they've got the tin hats on, you can't really see their faces. Focus. There we go. There's lieutenant, who really should be a higher ranking officer, given he's nonchalantly supping on a mug of tea, smoking his pipe, and has a rather fabulous moustache. I would actually put him as a captain or a major, but in game terms he is a lieutenant. And then we have the platoon sergeant with focused Emirais, again with the Thompson. This Thompson actually has, if I scoot around here, actually has the drum magazine, the larger drum magazine on. Then we have the forward observer with his regular set and monkey, who he's feeding a lump of bread to. And then we have the other infantry section, again NCO with a Thompson, ubiquitous Bren and Mark III Lee Enfield. Then we go over here to the veterans. There's an NCO who's one kneeling down shouting with a Thompson. His best mate with a Thompson, a Bren, and then these lovely guys with the Enfields, and you can see the one at the back there actually has a cigarette in his mouth. Very World War II. Then we have the 6-pounder, which is part of the modern thing that didn't come into service until in the desert until 1942-ish, even though we were building them in 1940 because we left everything in France and Dunkirk. Powers that be thought it best to continue making what we had, so we had stuff to fight with, which is why we had so many 2-pounders, and the 6-pounder was sort of pushed back, even though it had been designed and was approaching development and being built. Then we have the boys' anti-tank rifle, the much maligned anti-tank rifle. Actually, at the beginning of the war, this anti-tank rifle could take on pretty much any armoured vehicle coming towards it, especially if it was a Panzer I, a Panzer II, or a 38T. Even the early Panzer IIIs had really thin armour on the sides and the rear, so this could actually penetrate and do some serious damage. So yeah, it's actually not... See, what people tend to do... I'm going to go off on a rant, aren't I? What people tend to do when it comes to early war equipment is compare it to late war equipment. There is no comparison. There's no need, there's no reason to do that, because you're comparing the equipment you have at the beginning of the war to the equipment you have at the end of the war. And you're assuming, some people do assume that stuff like the late war marks of Panzer IV, the T-34, the Sherman were around a lot longer than they actually were. And then when someone says, oh, the 2-pounder was really bad, compared to an up-armoured Panzer III or Panzer IV it was coming up against in 1942-43, yes, it's not going to do very well. But compared to what it was shooting at, the aforementioned Panzer Is, 2s, 38Ts, and the early war Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, 2-pounder could easily penetrate them. But people like to think of late war and the big glamorous stuff like Tigers and Panthers and T-34s and Shermans and stuff like that. It boggles my mind that people argue about it when they're not taking into consideration context. That's all I'm going to say. Context. Anyway, now on to the gloriousness that is the Matilda. This is the CS one with the 76mm howitzer, or 3-inch howitzer, I should say. But yeah, 76mm. And then we have the command tank with the 2-pounder. And then the third in the group, give me the 2-pounder and the open driver's hatch. So yeah, all in all, this is my... Whoa, focus, come on. Yeah, we go. This is my 8th Army. 8th Army. I haven't done the points properly to it. It is over 1,000 points. This particular version of it. It's 2 platoons. It's the reinforced platoon and the armoured platoon. I can chop and change things around, so I can do an early war by dropping the 6-pounder and the Thompsons and rearranging the infantry. So they're slightly smaller sections, but I can fit a couple of Matildas in thanks to the 4 selector. And I'm going to get, this is going to wobble. This is going to wobble. And this, oh, this has just arrived. Rubicon M4A175, which, if you look at this, there'll be an unboxing of this at some point, I reckon. I'm going to do that one at the end. The Sherman 275 Direct Vision, which refers to its driver's ports. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. And that's going to be for the pure 1942 focus force. All we need to do is add a couple of Bren carriers, one of them for reconnaissance, one to tow the 6-pounder and bish bash bosh, we have a 1942 Alamein era army. So I should say Second Battle of Alamein. Anyway, as usual, guys, please do check out all the stuff in the description, all the sponsors and social media and Patreon. Don't forget Goblin Gaming and all that, and like and subscribe, do all the other YouTubey stuff, share this around, and as always, thank you for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.